Much, Rosemary. Well, those IOUs start going out today from the state, and the governor's press secretary, Aaron McLear, joining us this morning. Aaron, what's going on? It seems like we've got a group of teenagers in the state capitol trying to figure out, are we going to go to Vegas? Are we going to go to Cozumel for our vacation? I mean, the kind of arguing that we're seeing, unbelievable.
Right. Well, we're just as frustrated as you are and everybody else in California. The legislature failed to produce any kind of solution over the last few days to our problem. So because of that, we have a bigger problem. We have a bigger deficit. And now today, the controllers are going to have to start handing out IOUs instead of checks to people who do business with the state.
And are you concerned that some of those state vendors, I mean, we're talking about people that provide the very basic things to the state, up into, more complex things, and to the citizens of California, those people aren't getting paid. So aren't you concerned that those folks are going to take their business elsewhere to another state?
Well, sure, that's a concern. It's a concern also that maybe the IOUs won't be honored by banks. That's why the governor met with the controller and the treasurer yesterday. He also called the banks and said, look, we've never defaulted. I think you ought to honor these IOUs if it comes to that. But really, our focus is trying to get a budget fix. We have a budget fix, this all goes away.
But it doesn't seem like that. I mean, every time that we refocus our news efforts on this story, it seems like two sides both saying that so-and-so did this, so-and-so did this, we're not going to budge. I mean, what is it going to come to? Can there be a compromise at this point?
Right. Well, I have a great way to get you to start talking about something else besides this issue. The way to do that is to solve the entire problem. That's what the governor's been saying since day one. We can't do this piecemeal approach the legislature wants to do. And this is the same thing Sacramento has always done. We just do a little bit, the easy part, and put the rest off for later. And the governor said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We always do that. That's why we're in the situation we're in, so we got to solve the whole problem.
Now, yesterday, the governor declared this as a fiscal crisis, a fiscal emergency, and by doing that, basically locks in the legislature to only focus on bills that have to do with the budget. Why couldn't he have done that earlier? Because it seems like everybody knew we were going to run into this problem. We weren't going to meet the deadline.
Well, it would have been a good idea to do earlier because yesterday the legislature would not have had hearings on the clipping of cowtails, which is what they were doing yesterday. That was their focus yesterday, not on the budget. So we called a 58 special session yesterday, which means they can't do anything except help solve the budget. Hopefully, that'll get the legislature to finally act and solve this problem.
Is the governor willing to take a look at some of the Democrats' proposals that they've made and actually pass those? Because he's made a lot of vetoes lately, or threatened that anyway.
Well, the things he vetoed was a majority vote tax increase. We're not going to increase taxes. I can tell you that right now. The governor has laid out very, very general parameters. Solve the entire problem and do so without raising taxes. So he's been trying to compromise with the legislature. The problem is they're incapable or unwilling to solve the entire problem.
So what happens next? Because no one's meeting today, and we still don't have a budget.
Well, we met with the Big Five yesterday. The governor's going to be here every single day. He needs to be until we get this done. The legislature hopefully will realize that we can't do a piecemeal approach. We can't just solve the easy part and put off the rest for tomorrow. Once the legislature understands that we need to solve the entire problem, we're going to be in good shape.
All right, Aaron, we appreciate the feedback
Thanks.
this morning. And the last time, here's some history for you, IOUs went out. That was in 1992. Do you remember what happened that year? Well, let's look back. The Washington Redskins won the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 26. Silence of the Lambs won Best Picture at the Oscars, and Johnny Carson retired from hosting The Tonight Show. Oh, and Windows 3.1, it was released. Rosemary?